What up? The boxer again. I know. I just dropped one last night. But what can I say, bro? I couldn't wait. It's Yuto, bro. Yuto is the GOAT. Fun fact, Yuto is the only reason I started this whole series. Well, not like reading the series, but like this whole going through the characterization series. It was all because I wanted to talk about him. I just wanted an excuse. But I figured I might as well talk about everybody because everybody's really interesting, except for Kasim. But that's besides the point. So, whenever you get a fighting story, you always have the character who's not as good as everybody else initially at what they do. Whatever the power system is, whatever the fighting style is, whatever is going on in that universe, there's always the one character who falls short. That is what Yuto is. And we love these characters. Moment Rider, Rock Lee, Magna Swing, Bro from Haikyuu. We just love these niggas. These is bangers. These is all bangers. Vasco from Look is kinda, maybe, maybe more Lil Daniel if anything. I don't know. Just look at him at this, whatever. But you get what I'm saying. So we love these sort of characters who just, even though expectations aren't good for them, they tend to rise above what everyone tends to think of them every single time. We love that because the hard worker is everything. So when we talk about Yuto and his coach is sitting there, because his coach is basically the person who raised him, because Yuto's past is his mother was a very sickly person and his father was a cop. Yuto looked up to his father a lot, but unfortunately he died in action. Well, not necessarily in the field. He died off duty trying to stop a group of thugs from assaulting this lady. Yuto looked up to him. So when he died, Yuto's whole morality, where when his coach asks, what's the purpose of life? He says, I don't know, but I'm going to be a person who spreads hope in the world like my dad did. I just want to be able to inspire someone. I want to bring to light. I want to show that there's still good in this world. And that's what he was striving to do. But the thing is, he was unathletic as fuck. No coordination, no bodily coordination, to the point where we get introduced to these graphs where you have a genius whose starting point is higher than most. Then you have the average person who's they're under the genius, of course, but they're not completely at the bottom. Yuto is the rare person who was at the motherfucking bottom. He was flatlined, and then his expected peak was that he was supposed to boom, and flatlined after the little bump up. That's where he was supposed to stop growing. And even in the interview, his coach is saying, so what do you think is the definition of a hard worker? What do you think of hard workers? And the interviewer, he's like, this isn't going to be in the paper or anything, but I'm going to just tell you now, hard workers are losers. They make excuses for not being as good as everybody else. They like to try and flash it and say that they worked for everything that they did, but everybody worked for everything that they did. You just wasn't, there's nothing special about you. You just try to flash it. The thing about Yuto is that he's the exception. He's truly exceptional because his hard work was able to push him to the point where he passed his peak. Where when he was introduced to his friend Yamaguchi, and Yamaguchi was having very unfortunate living problems, he was having very unfortunate school problems, where in school, bullies try to take advantage of him. At home, his mother was a drunk who ridiculed him and berated him, and she was only keeping him around for government funding. She had no love for this boy at all. Sad life. And he's sitting there and he's like, I'm going to show you that no matter what your circumstances are, you can still work. If you work hard enough, you will see the good. I promise the results will show. But it's hard to do that when every person who works hard, there's always the wall. There's always that wall. And if you're an athlete, we all ran into the wall before, where you realize, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But there are stories of people who surpass that wall. If you surpass that wall, you do great things. That's where all the greatest peoples come from, that wall. His wall was a dude named Kazuto, where Kazu, he's sort of overrated in my opinion. They're hyping him up, saying he's the most talented, he's gonna be the next big thing in the boxing world and all that. Ryu would have dropped him. You would have killed him. I even got my boy, what's his name? What's his name? Jay, I think. I got Jay flushing this nigga. I got Jay flushing this nigga before he even finished his training. In a sparring session, he wouldn't have lasted. Merged. But the thing with Takeda is that because no matter how hard he worked, he wasn't able to keep up with the talented people. He was bound to get hit. So his training was that he was just supposed to have a very resilient body, have amazing endurance, be able to thug through anything and show them just pressure. So when he runs into Kazu, he's just taking beating after beating, but he keeps coming back. And at first, he's not showing any growth, but eventually he just came back so much, worked hard so much, he lost himself in his training. Once you lose yourself, oh, now it's on. Now it gets going. Now it gets going. Because now them hits get harder. Them hits is hitting harder. The movements are getting more fluid. The weaving is precise. The sharper. Everything's cut so different. Everything is so different now. And now he's entering a realm where he can fight against a genius. So the problem is that Yuto is the hero. He's portrayed as the hero, and you just had to be his villain. Fuck Coach K, bro. Fuck this nigga, bro. His fight with you is coming up, and he's already in his head, like, even when he's shadowboxing and everything, trying to figure out what he'll do to dodge this and that, he's literally not landing any hits, and he's getting hit every time, and he's being beaten every time. He's watching the clips, and he's like, there's no way I'll win this fight. But even the coach is like, he still takes the fight, and he still takes it with a stride. That's what we love. Because I remember with Rock Lee, he should have won the fight. He should have beat Guard. How you beat the gates? How did you? He backed out all his gates. He was whooping ass. That ass pool of having the sand shell the whole time. I swear you've never seen me so mad. That's the downside of these characters, bro. Eventually you run into someone who's so talented, and the author needs to show you that no matter how hard you work, it's someone out there who's just always just gonna be better. And it's gonna be a gap. It's always just gonna be a gap with someone, and that's what I hate. Bro. That's what I hate. That's the one thing about these characters. That is the one thing about these characters where it's so sad that they work their hardest and they don't win, but they win the hearts of everyone who watched. And that's what he needed to do. That was his goal all along, that he won the hardest, because he fights you and he goes in against any outboxer. His infighting technique is perfect. Blitz him every time. Don't give him no space. Just keep hitting relentlessly. Don't ever back down. This nigga Yu gets into an infighting stance and starts using his own moves on some Johan Seong shit. Using his own moves, but using them better, to the point where he's unlocking an infighting bag at that point. And now we have a problem. Because now he's getting dropped back to back, every single round of this shit. It was so painful. It was so painful reading this. It's always so painful reading this fight. This fight and the fight with the Fabrizino brothers, or whatever it's so painful reading these, because and Jay's fight. I'm spoiling myself. But it's so sad seeing, because he's getting up every time. He's taking the beatings, but he's not gonna stop. And even the coach is motivating him, where she's like, it's all right, just do what you're doing. You know how to exchange blows with anyone better than he does. He's gonna get tired eventually. You just need to be able to wear him out. But you gotta. It gets to a point, bro. It gets to a point. Yu's hits are like bullets at this point. You just can't take enough of them. If you keep getting hit, you do. If you keep getting hit, you gon' fall. You gon' fall and you gon' fall permanently. He almost died in that fight. But here's the crazy part. He became a genius at the very last minute. The last quarter, 8 seconds on the clock on some Tracy McGrady. He became a genius. He reached talent. Hot take, if you didn't drop him then and there, and he was allowed to keep going, if the coach had thrown in the towel just a second before he got dropped, Takeda would have made a comeback, and his next couple fights, he probably would have been on the same level of you and Aaron, or slightly under, because he was already able to just go. It was so good, bro. It was so good, bro. So good, bro. Fuck, Coach K, man. Takeda is my boy. But here's the beauty of it, because I said it again. They never win their fights, but they win the hearts of the people who's watching. He almost died in that fight, yes. He was forced to retire because of that fight. Shattered jaw, his body's all messed up. He can't do it. But the kid in the hospital that he was donating money to for cancer and all that. Well, not cancer. The kid apparently has some other illness that was very rare, and they didn't even know if it could be treated or not. That's how rare it was. They didn't know if a treatment existed. But this kid persevered through his disease for so long because he was inspired by Takeda. Yamaguchi in the stands became successful at his job. He didn't do what he was about to do on that boat because Takeda's inspiration, bro. You stand proud, Yuto. You are strong. Fuck, bro. I love these characters. Who's next? Who's the next fighter? Is it the brothers? Oh, gut wrench after gut wrench. Twisting the knife at this point. Just shoot me. All right. We love Yuto. There will never be no Yuto slant. And here's a hot take. If you never switched into that infighting stance, Yuto would have got his ass. Yuto would have put some hands on him. He probably wouldn't have won because the gap is always there, as we seen. He would have put paws on him though. He would have at least landed 5. He would have at least landed 5 or 4. Nothing more. But yeah, that's it for this. Y'all boys stay safe though. I'm out.